You can something this, and the bricks would be put like that. So the thickness of the vault of the dome would be 25 centimeters, which is an addition to the, what they call it, the 15, more than the 15. It would be perfectly all right. Beyond that, you have, if the dome is here, and you have your dome here, you have every meter height, you have to put a ring, a bond.
Every meter?
A bond of concrete, very small, just to take the tension, so as to, I mean to say, to this, the lateral thrust. You can, this is if the span or the thickness is 25 centimeters. Here, the brick, 25. And you want to put here, if you have half a brick here and half a brick here, that would, and then you put to hide it, and to have here the ring, I mean to say the bond beam. Any, I mean to say, you can have a rod 3/8 of an inch, two rods just, I mean, round, and that would make sure that nothing would happen concrete. With your dome.
In concrete?
The
rods in concrete.
I don't.
Cement and rods.
Yes, concrete.
Yeah,
A bond beam.
You need that if you go bigger than 4 feet?
If you need it if you go bigger than 4 meter span.
With a rebar?
With
rebars, yeah.
Steel rod?
You the width would be, if this is 25, we said.
Yes.
And if you have, a quarter of a brick here and a quarter of a brick here, that make half a brick, and half a brick, 12 centimeters. It is for the thing is not for the cement. It is for the tie beam, for the steel, the steel rod that to keep it.
That was my question.
So you have one thing, rod 3/4 of an inch would be all right, or 2, just for security. I have built 6.5 dome, but we have had to increase the height of the thickness of the vault when it is too high. We have had it in 2 heights, 2 thicknesses, up to a certain height. 1 brick and a half, 35, and then here 25. But if you have your ring here, this tie beam, it will be all right.
If this is the equivalent of, may I?
Yes.
Burying it, say the earth is out to this point,
yes.
Then you could start with this thinner 25 centimeter
If it is underground,
You don't need to put any rods or anything because you have the pressure is taken up by the earth you are filling. It will be strutted. Yes.
Good.
And you have this shell rising a little above ground level.
Seems ideal for this climate, this country.
And yesterday, one of our friends asked me about, he said that in the very hot and very cold days that you need the dome for cooling, I mean for heating. And if you want to have insulation, and the solution, if this were a dome here, you can have you build your wall up a little, and you have another dome here.
With a space.
They do this.
Styrofoam beads.
They do this. I mean, domes. When they build a mosque, the internal proportions, or rather the structure imposes that you have your dome to be this high only. if this were a Sassanid dome even, you can have the top one a Byzantine dome. However, if this were to be the dome, I mean, or rather, this ought to come down here, excuse me. To show from the design, the architectural design, because the dome has to show out of the building, they raise this and build another dome on top. I mean to say, two shells for the aesthetic, from the aesthetical point of view, to show from the outside. So we can use the same thing, and a dome with 4 meters span would take you 2.5 days to build with 2 masons, and it would take about, I don't know, 1,400 bricks. يا معلم علاء، هو ايش ذا؟ معلم علاء، القبة 4 متر تاخذ كم ألف طوبة؟ القبة ال4 متر تاخذ كم ألف طوبة؟ 3000 تاخذ. It takes 3,000 bricks. So if you are doing it yourself, and it will cost, and I wonder if you have your what do you call it, the stove here, and you have a flue, and having this here, having this to be heated on one side and open on the other side. You see, you have to play, my dear, with these structures, with this masonry, with this. Adobe allows you to do whatever you like. It's nothing. You have the earth here and mix it with water and do it. Don't buy it. You have to do it yourself.
With the snow that we have here, you would have a warm room inside of a dome.
Yes.
And a snow load on top.
Yes.
And so the heat would transfer through the adobe, and that.
No, the adobe is a very bad conductor of heat. You would have, you see, we have had an experiment. It was for heat, and the inside air temperature didn't vary the fluctuation more than 2 degrees centigrade during the 24 hours in April, when the fluctuation outside was about 20 degrees, up and down. And that way you can make sure that with your adobe you can economize on heating and on cooling.
Right. But the snow is a good insulator.
So
we may have snow on top of the dome for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And what I'm wondering is how you insulate, or
keep the water.
how do you keep the water? How do you waterproof it?
I see.
It will melt.
Yes, this certainly you can. It is, I mean to say, implicit that you take care of the damp proofing. When it is a concrete slab, you put damp proof sheeting, asphalt like what you have put up here. And then you put light concrete, and giving it the slopes for the water. So when you have a dome, you don't need to have the slopes. You have to put this damp proof sheeting on top, fix it properly, and then you can put chicken wire all over, cover it with chicken wire, and fix it, and then spray it with cement and finito. It will protect it from water, and the cement would spill off the rain, and the damp-proof sheet. And you have, when the water comes down to the lower parts, these have to be properly drained out, like when you have a flat roof. You know, you have an inclination of so many inches per foot, and or I don't know how you calculate it. We calculate by the meter, and you have here by the inch, and this is.
Is that what you're going to do here?
Absolutely. This is, yes. This has to be an example. And it will be covered by the damp-proof sheeting, and then chicken wire and cement.
And then stucco?
Yes, stucco, and then we can, this cement could be sprayed rough, and then smeared with stabilized earth, because we wanted to. Yes.
And how about condensation on the inside of the dome, so you don't have water dripping all the time? So hot air rises and hits the The ceiling.
You think that there would be any condensation on the inside? No, on the contrary, because you have the inside warm, hotter than outside.
Yes.
With a double.
There will be no condensation.
Well, I lived in a dome in Oregon,
Yes.
and condensation was a big, because the room would be warm, and the warm air would rise, and the ceiling would be
Cold.
colder than down low. So it would make
The
the warm air.
condensation will take place when the temperature drops, if you have it warm. So the dew point is, let us say, I don't know, 40, let us say. But the heat is 45 inside. But when it drops below 40 to 35, let us say, then the condensation will take place. This will take place on the walls as well as on the ceiling, as well on the air. This is another problem. It doesn't matter because condensation on the water will not have it will not seep up. It can by capillarity if you have it, but it will not be as if you were spraying with a hose, you know, the water and the ceiling. No.
So do you need to circulate to have a fan?
No, nothing at all. It will be perfectly all right. And I remember, you see, one thing I must tell you. When you have to have a flat roof on a vault, you have here, the vault is here, the vaulted roof. And this is the wall here. And you want to have a flat roof on top.
Why would you want to have a flat roof?
To have another room.
Oh.
Second floor. Or to have a flat roof, to have a terrace to enjoy, to live on. And you have to have the flat roof here like that. So instead of having the filling all this too much, you have a small side vault here and a small side vault here.
About what proportion of the large vault is the side
Big
vault?
one?
What proportion is the small vault to the large vault?
This you draw it yourself so as to reduce the filling. The filling will be reduced to that. And this would help for air, for insulation of heat. And you can have another room. But when you don't put another vault on top, unless you have a tie beam, because the pressure would be, dangerous.
The tie beam would have to be at the top of the wall, at the
No,
very base of
the tie beam has to be at the bottom here, so that as if you were putting it on the ground. Because this the tie beam being here, this would be the tie beam. Then you can put your vault here.
لكن Saint-Siméon
Dipon?
Saint-Siméon دير سمعان
Saint-Siméon.
Simon's.
Saint-Siméon Aswan.
Yes, and Saint Simeon, and we have a monastery in Aswan, which this is 4 meters, more than 4 meters 20 or something like that. And they have put this to make sure. I'm very sorry because I have had all the calculations that were made by the professor of structures at the Cairo University. And he calculated the stresses here. Everything has been calculated to make sure that what you are doing is correct. But without the calculations, it works. But here we need the calculations. We cannot snub the structure engineer. There is a limit. As far as we are doing in our own limits, for a small room, 3 meters, see the sweetheart. She is amused by Allahadin. Habbetak. Sweet. So you see, everything had a solution. And I say that nature itself, or herself, proposed adobe to man, because after the harvest season, when man saw that the earth mixed with straw made big lumps which didn't crack, and then he made bricks. How could he find out? And how did he find out the vault too? It is fantastic. The primitive man, we have this from the 3rd dynasty. How did he find it out? I have the tricks. You will find them. I will show you because this is, where is the thank you. It came from Iraq. The example shooting, it was reeds bent, and that gave. But how did they manage to think about building the thing with no centering? This is another fantastic thing.
Could you elaborate on that again for the thing? Did you just say Iraq with the bent reeds, and you did some sort of reinforcing and cement over that?
No, not cement. It suggested it. It suggested the form.
I see.
But still, how man could find out the means of building the vault with no centering against this inclined, the voussoirs like you are going to see. I think the rain has stopped.
Yeah.
And aren't they going to start building or what?
لا
نبتدي البنى ولا لسه؟ المطره وقفت.
نبتدي ولا وقفت؟
يلا.
بس ادينا مع المعلومات الشبابيك دي ارتفاعها واسعه.
لا سيب الشبابيك ما يهمكش. لما نبقى نجيبها اعملها من غير شبابيك نبقى نخرمهم بعدين.
خلاص ماشي.
يلا.
I'd like to wait a little, just a very short time. The scaffolding and stuff is like ice. It's very slippery.
Very slippery. You have to wait a little.
Just
نستنى شوية لما يعملوا البتاع دي.
What about the demonstration?
Yeah, we can make the vault. We can make the vault on the ground.
Yeah.
Can we start the vault on the ground?
In a short time, we have to just bring that wall up a little higher.
I think we have to have had it before, my dear. We want the demonstration.
Yes.
Because it is not for the structure, just about the demonstration, so as to show what they do. So can we start the raising the wall, the end wall of the demonstration on the ground?
Yes.
Because I would like them to take it by the video tape here that we have.
Could we redo the template again?
That has to be sawn.
Could we redo the catenary, the chain again, so we can film it?
We have to. Anyway.
The template?
Yes.
You
it has
put
to be
it,
cut.
put it straight away and draw your mortar and finished.
We'd like to film how the curve came after the catenary. We'd like to show how we used the catenary and how we made it a curve.
That has to be done.
Which curve? The catenary, the curve, my dear.
Yes.
You put it on the wall, fix it on the wall, and then smear mud around. They will do it. Allahadin will do it.
He's asking for demonstration for the camera to show how
I think, yes.
how we got the curve, to do it over again with the chain.
I wish if we did that, yes.
That has
to be recut anyway, right?
I beg your pardon?
10 centimeters, whatever it is, too big.
Yeah, 7 of.
For 7 centimeters too big, you have to cut some centimeters off of it.
Yes, it has to be trimmed.
So let's trim it.
Here we are. It is a scenario. Would you take care of this scenario?
Yes.
To have to measure the span. You see, the scenario ought to have been done that way. If I were a metteur en scène, a stage sitter, I'm sitting, I would take the template and put it on the wall. No, this is 7 centimeters larger or smaller. No, I don't know. No, it has to be this, and then we pull it down, and then we put it. Oh yes, that's very good. No, but this is not necessary. But I mean to say, every mistake has to be recorded because it would save for the future not to do anything haphazardly. It has to go to its very basic. So let us go and see about the. Oh, you are.
You're still connected.
Ah.
Yeah.
Can we push pause?
Oops, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, you just subtract 7 from each side.
Because the way it works usually is you get a jump when you turn it on and off in the film, but if you just use pause, it just holds the film there and it doesn't. It gives a continued.
And then, yeah, see, I got the same thing here. I can turn it off and on and here, it don't matter.
Yeah, okay.
I should have control here.
I see.
Is there a book out that discusses the Kokolov that you were talking about, the Russian stuff?
There are books on calculating in German.
In German?
Yes, because it is I have in Austria, I have been acquainted with this business. Oh, Mindersi, I am the grandfather here.
Yes, c'est vrai, hein?
You have to spoil your grandfather.
Okay, right there.
Is there going to be a demonstration on the?
We have to
Need more bricks up there.
Here,
Here comes the bricks.
My dear friend, put it not here on the outside. All right, put it. Try now and see how it would behave. Again.
Just come up about window height.
You see?
Satisfactory for a demonstration?
It's not. I guess with the real shallow one.
Yeah. But this is just for demonstration. I don't know how.
No,
exactly.
it will complicate matters. Put it the chain on the outside one, the outside end. No, the outside end.
The edge of the. It appears that that's like how shallow a vault. Yeah, without the bricks falling. Without just crushing each other and ending up on your head. Also, when you're building it, if it's too shallow, the bricks will just slip inside instead of slipping.
So it has to be corrected a
Everyone?
little bit. From where the chain hangs, you have to correct it to straighten it just a little bit?
A little bit.
Is that just by
To make it go more upright and to not to the lateral thrust not to fall outside the wall.
Yes.
To
do you just determine this by intuition?
Bipon?
Is this just intuition, how long you go?
No, it is because after you draw this curve, you correct it yourself with it is you have to use your feelings too.
How do you trust your feelings?
You have to lower the chain. It is not.
Okay, that's good.
It is not
long enough.
Yeah, it's not long enough. Drop it below. There you go.
That's the joint. There you go.
A little lower. Okay. There.
You see, did you take it?
We're rolling.
Are you?
Yep.
Yes. You see, have you started already or not yet?
You're on. You're live, right?
Okay, because I would like to show that you have to hang this chain, how to hang the chain. This template has been already cut out beforehand. Before it was just, before forming the curvature, you have to have the span of your vault here is 3 meters. We put nails, one here and one there, and one in the middle. And to put this end horizontal, perfectly horizontal. And then from the middle line you have this radius here, the rise of the vault. If this were 3 meter span, the rise of the vault would be 1 meter 65 centimeters. Because if it were the radius circular, it would exert some lateral thrust on the walls, side walls. But if you raise by just 15 centimeters, it will bring the end here into, it would reduce the lateral thrust here, because this will be put on the wall, because here, this chain and this curvature, which we call the catenary, the form of the catenary curve, every link is pulling onto the other. And it is working entirely in tension. And if you reverse it upside down, then, or rather down, up, it will be working entirely under compression. And that way we can make that the mud brick adobe could be used for roofing, because the form of the vault is, if you gave it the shape of this catenary form, working under compression, adobe can take compression but doesn't take tension nor bending. And that way we have solved the problem of roofing for the great numbers, because to build a wall is easy for everybody. To make bricks, rammed earth, whatever it is, stone, but usually the peasants are defeated by the roofing, because it needs materials that take bending and tension, which the mud brick doesn't take. It needs wood at least, or rather where there is no wood, there would be a problem. And it would need concrete or steel or anything expensive, which is beyond the means of the people, of the poor people. But if you can find means of using the same adobe, Allahadin بنعمل
أنا بتكلم معهم عشان البنية.
It's fantastic. If you can make your roof by, giving not by the strength of the material that you have, what do you call it, the timber or concrete, steel, but give the strength by the form, the geometrical form, which this is the catenary that we have said. And that way, how can we apply it in the building to make sure that the thing we have recourse to this kind of template to make sure that the curve would be correct, because it is not everybody. By tradition, the masons used to know this by intuition, but we have to do it scientifically, and we have to do it to everybody. It took the trainee 3 years to draw this curve, and by this very small idea of a template, they can immediately have it rightly done and scientifically done. And this is our role, to help the people to make the things correctly with great simplicity, no complication. So here now we have the chain hanging on the two ends here, and the nail down here would give me the rise, and we raise the chain, pull it in and up and down until it comes to join to be tangential to the 3 points, the 2 points on the top and the apex here. And then we cut, this was in a board, you cut it by the saw and then bring it, put it against the end wall, as we say, because the vaults here is not enough to have had the curvature correct, but we have the means to do the building with no centering, because we don't want to have complicated, apparatuses or appliances. So if we build the courses like we are going to see right now on an inclined plane off the vertical against an end wall like this, then and they put the bricks end to end, you will see later that how they can manage to build the vault with no centering, right out in space, like modeling. And we can solve the problem. 2 masons can put the roof on a room 3 meters like this, by 4 meters in 1 day and a half, and you have your room already covered. If it were to be in concrete, it would need at least 15 days for the concrete to set down, and I don't know, it would be very complicated for the cost for the materials, for this and that, and also for the time. But this is straight away, it is like modeling out in space. And we can solve the problem for the great numbers. This is what we are trying to do. Because we must know that there are in the world 900 million people who are, according to United Nations statistics, who are doomed to a premature death because of the bad conditions of housing. And these are the clients we want to serve and want to help. And if we add 1 penny to the cost of the construction, we are discarding I don't know how many millions. So we have to have the very simple. We are not exclusive. You can have the concrete, you can have stone, you have any timber, whatever you have. But this is to serve so many millions. Specific client that we are trying to serve. If they have more money to have whatever he has, let him have it. But this is not meant to be criticized or to say, and if it were to be, I don't know what, and if it were to show that, and so on, and compare and introduce other cases. No, this is for the millions, the 900 million. Put it on here.
امسك وياه. واحد مسك بالبير تحته.
You have to put bricks down. Put bricks here.
Does it need to be level?
لا هي امسك اي واحد قال ايوه. ايوه.
Had to be level, yes.
واحد ثاني كمان بس. كده بس ارفع فوق.
On the other side.
واحد ثاني يا محمد. لا عيني يا محمد.
We are trying to. No, fini. This is finished now. That is, it's on the other side. And make it level.
You must calculate the lateral thrust and decide if the wall is adequate for it.
Yes, but you cannot calculate it precisely.
It's difficult.
But if it were to be slanting like that, it would be too much. If it is like that, it would break in the middle, as I said. But this way, it will work all right. ايه ده؟
راكبه بديها من هنا.
ابتديها من هنا يا علاء.
سيب الجواني.
سيب الجواني.
حاضر. ماشي. وانت عندك محمد راكبه.
حط المونة بقى. حط المونة على طول. I think we have to remove this now.
لا بزيادة بزيادة. هو امسك.
Need about 4 or 5 people over here to get some bricks.
اوكي سوي على عادي تربى. امسك خليك ماشي.
Yeah, start a stack.
ما تمسك. لا ما بس خليها قاعد عن فوق دوس عليهم فوق بس. عشان تشيل انت محمد بس. تشيل ابداك. لكن حكيت التشير. مش هتطلعين.
Sit over on the other side. Stretch the line and then we'll work up the
لين ده لين ما ينفعش لا ما ينفعش ما ينفعش هات ناشف
In the center of the stack, you do.
It's been raining.
Under that tile, probably have to dig out the top of it.
I understand.
شيل الخشب يلا خلاص خشب ايوه شيل شيل وياه شيل وياه شيل سوا يلا برا
This way.
No, he has to trim the end with the edge.
Okay, let's put it over against these trees.
So, excuse me, he has to see the first brick has to be showing here.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So this is in the way?
Yeah. Some of it. It comes in the way, yes.
Can I put it on the inside?
Yes, put it on the ground.
Connie.
Now here's the guide and he can continue on. Now you will do it, you film it. Arrivederci. Thank you.
Thank you. You can't put it there.
You don't have to film continuously, no?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Everything you say to me goes on this quarter. Okay?
Put him right next to him. You gotta put him there.
ايوه استنى هنا
I'll give you a choice. You can either hold this or take pictures.
يا ابوي يا اولاد الله يسووك يا ولاد جاهز على وين راح تجيبها؟
This is a demonstration thing?
Yes. Oh no. You see, they have to have the inclination, so they have, if you have the bricks, one brick and one brick and I meant to say, support the joints, not to have them in the same line that will break. So like you see how it is going, Malam Allahadin. You would have one brick thickness on top and 6 brick thicknesses down here. That's the only one that I know. Inclination for the bricks to hold when you are building. And no centering, nothing. It's not much.
Like they use for the plywood forms.
It's incredible. I had a architect friend, an English architect. When he said that walking in Gurma, he said, I knew of this. I never thought it was so simple.
You are pirate.
Shall we explain that how they are bringing this to have 1/2 brick thick, 1 thickness up and 6 below. And that is what they are trying to do when they are producing this.
You're supposed to explain it, the fat guy, so you can plug the microphone. Okay, that's better.
You're going to record what he's doing?
Yes.
Everybody just walks right in front of it.
Outside wall down.
I'm glad to know I wasn't that.
So you may use the chain for it.
Yeah, I had to the only thing, well, I didn't have certain critical knowledge.
Yeah. Would you go get my black and white one? I have my bag in there. Video, that's what you do with video. camera's not in my bed.
Has a black
That's Susie's camera.
right? Where's my camera?
It's in the van.
In the van. Where? I'm fine. Billy. 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 Billy.
Camera's on.
بس عشان الفيديو مو اشتغل بها طوي ممنوع لما نشوفها طيب
There's nothing I could write, anything I would write there.
But it's squished on.
Actual hemispherical contour.
We say practice makes perfect. They wrote several books to say we are scientists and we are authors. But as a matter of fact, it's a generation follows generations and we never get up to school. But it is a heritage. You see, sure. Okay. So most welcome. You have the honor to be descended in music. You see. So that is this act. What
جيب لك لحين هلا قول له
one cigarette. One cigarette. اشرب سيجارة يا عمي ما في كامل. سجالة يا سجالة مش عايز سيجارة. They went a board. Four wooden boards and 2 blocks. They want to stand up on it.
No, leave that one there. I got one.
We'll need 2 concrete blocks too.
Board sound like cigarette?
Hey, Connie.
What happened?
Stop the camera.
Erase
that. Erase that.
You see, the mud, it is not good. The mortar, it is not good.
Well, what does it need?
You need some straw, but it is not good. As we demanded that day, you remember, every one of you. And to doing that mortar, it must be, we add straw and remain 3 days to have lactic acid. You see? Scientifically, we speak now. Scientifically speaking, yes. Scientifically speaking now, we are not awesome.
So the proportion, okay, we just need the straw and
Sure.
And you said 3 days it should work together. Does it make it sticky?
Yeah, it's shadow.
This same thing
Too much sand. You need it mixed with less. It's pretty sticky too.
كان زايد هو قرصش عليها
Heads up. Heads down. Watch this. انزل اعلى شويه براسك. حاسب.
اول باك ولا كمل.
مرة. Wait a minute. You're gonna reach across?
اول بالك. دلي تزيد سيبه في الارض.
He says, wait.
يقول انت في قاعد مطلع انا استهونت فيه.
Abdul Rahman, hey, bring a handful of that straw. The old stuff.
That's exactly.
I've got to move. You've got to move?
I'm going to put some straw in. Try to rip it up.
هذا جامد.
That is we are going to do that. We are going to do that. No, not now, dear friend. No.
Well, it may.
No, please. You have no need. No.
It gets mixed.
No. Just it would be prepared 2 or 3 days ago.
What may have happened when that fell down is that wall isn't stable, so it may have moved.
We are going to explain only that.
And when a hammer on it,
Why
it
you
might
did.
It's also not plumb. That brick right there is not...
Yep, that's what happened. The wall moved.
عايز حصوة تحت الجانب. شوف حصواية.
The top of the wall is in a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah. And when a hammer on it, the wall goes like this.
Shoulder. All right.
Video?
ايوه هات له ثاني ده. هات ثاني رب هنا ايوه.
عايز ايه يا عم محمد؟
More dirt. Same time.
More clay?
عايز ايه؟ حط كمان شوية؟
More what?
Dirt. Dirt.
More clay.
It's clay.
Put the red clay in.
Okay, the red stuff. Here comes the shovel. He's getting
2 shovelfuls.
يا ابوي دكم شلوات. مستنيش لما غربوا له ربوها.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you may want to.
فينا حمراء.
الثلاثة ده يقلع مني. أنا وريت يقلع مني. لا شاورها. لا يقلع. لا لا.
You want to take a shot of the grip?
ايوه ميه ميه شويه ميه خفيف خفيف تعال مع ابوها
Yeah, it'll be available to libraries and interested groups. You should see PBS again.
He didn't say more. Just keep mixing.
It's enough. Monique. Monique or Dominique? The Monique.
Just stick it up.
Better than before, huh?
The wall's moving.
We do our mix again.
That's what I
From
wish.
5 sand to 9 for the brown clay.
He was in the just
All that vibration.
No, that's wrong.
ها طوب تعالوا جاي قرب الطوب هنا هذا الطوب هنا 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 هي كنت قاعد اقول انا لما جالس فوق ابنا شويه بقصر هنا حتى انام شفت عليه هنيك كان فوق نزل 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 شكله خفيفه خالص حط ميه حط ميه
This is like
still standing or did they fall?
كلها بلاوي جايه دعابيس القوال كلها دعابيس.
They're all too thick.
Need help transporting?